Hello everybody, my name is Joe Carter and today I'm going to be demonstrating my new solitaire or two-player co-op war game called Tank Commander the Ardennes, and this can be played as either solitaire, single player, or two players as co-op. And basically, you play as a commander of a Sherman M4A3 American, a tank for the American Army during the Ardennes offensive in Belgium during 1944 and 1945, better known as Battle of the Bulge. So I was inspired to create this by Patton's Best. Yeah, it's I think it's a good game from what I've seen, but a little bit maybe a little too complex. That's what a lot of people complain about. And looking through the rulebook, I think I might have to agree, though I have not played it, so I want to make that clear. So basically, let's see. The player controls a single tank, and let me just go ahead, and it'll be easier for me to just show you the components, and then I'll explain other things later. So here I'll start from right to left. Here we have the M4A3 Sherman tank mat, the crewman placement, and ammunition and damage mat. Plus we have the commander medals boxes. You can earn medals. This is the player's tank. They are, for a single player, there's one mat. You can actually play with two tanks, number 1 and 2, as single player. Players that want to do that, it'll give you a little bit better, maybe, chance of survival. But this is normally it would be played as a single player, a solitaire with just one tank, player's tank. So here we have the crewman placement on the tank. Over the tank we have the driver, assistant driver, gunner, it's for the main gun, and loader and commander. And the player plays as the commander, and if he dies or is incapacitated, then the game ends. Incapacitated means he receives 4 wounds. So the assistant driver fires the bow machine gun, and also he is the backup driver, of course. The driver is the driver. He drives the tank, and the gunner fires the coaxial machine gun in the turret, plus the main gun. The loader loads the coaxial machine gun ammo plus the main gun ammo, shells. And the tank commander, he can call in United States Air Force airstrikes if the one of the radios is still working. And he can also help spot for the main gun. The assistant driver can also help spot if they have to be unbuttoned. Now, when I mean unbuttoned, probably most of you know what this means, but unbuttoned means the hatch is open. See, here we have the hatches: assistant driver hatch, and commander hatch. On the M4, yeah, they don't have their own hatches on the A3. Okay, the other two crewman. So here we have hatch open or hatch closed, open, closed. Now if it's open, they have a greater chance of being wounded, of course. But the commander has to have his hatch open to fire his 50 caliber. I forgot to mention, commander fires a 50 caliber AA anti-aircraft machine gun, but he has to be unbuttoned to shoot his machine gun. And the loader, I based this on Patton's Best, kind of the same basic concept, where this is the ready rack, and you have to, here we have the loaded box, means the shell is loaded into the breech, I guess you'd call it. And here we have the ready rack for a total of 8. And each crewman can perform 1 action per combat round. Each tank crewman. Okay. For example, if the assistant driver is not driving, and let's say he doesn't fire his machine gun, then he can spot, if he's unbuttoned, his head is sticking out of the hatch is open, his head is sticking out. He can help the main gunner spot for that entire combat round, and that gives the gunner a better chance of hitting the target. Okay? And that would be 1 action, as he's spotting the entire combat round, so he can't do anything else. The loader can, see, I have them all listed here. This is the tables book, as probably most of you know. This shows what each crewman's actions, possible actions are each combat round. So the loader can load the main. Oh, we have the military helicopters flying around. The loader can load the main gun. Possible actions per combat round are load the main gun, and he can also unjam, whether the coaxial machine gun jams or the main gun jams, he can attempt to unjam the gun that combat round. That's an action. Or he can reload a shell after it's fired into the for the main gun from the ready rack. For example, this is a ready rack, and the main gunner fired his gun already, the main gun, so the loader would load this from the ready rack into the main gun breech. Okay, I think I'm getting that term right, breech. I hope so. So he can also reload the gunner's 30 caliber coaxial machine gun. He can do that a maximum of 4 per combat round. And he can do a maximum of 4 shells per combat round into the ready rack. And here we have AP as armor piercing. This is used against hardened targets like armored cars or tanks or APCs, armored personnel carriers. And then we have high explosives, HE. High explosive shells are used against soft targets such as German squads, flamethrowers, mortars, snipers, and RPGs, which represent Panzerschrecks. It's like a bazooka type, but it's a German one. It was actually much more powerful than the American bazookas. Basically, each crewman can do 1 action per combat round. Now, order of the action or attack is made from the draw cup here. Now, what's a little bit different about this design compared to some of my other game designs is the entire tank cannot do all actions. You know, like for example, if I drew the M4, my M4 counter, oh, I can do everything during the same combat. You know, round. I can shoot my gun and drive and spot and whatever. This is different. This is per crewman a counter drawn. So you have to, for example, let's say the main gunner fired the previous combat round. He fired the main gun. Okay, let's say the combat round ends, but then we do it again, the next combat round, and let's say I draw. Let me find my gunner. Just a second, please. Okay. I draw my... See, this says M4-1. This means tank number 1. G is gunner. I draw the gunner, draw cup counter. For this is his action now. This is his turn. But unfortunately, the main gun is not loaded. So he can't fire the main gun until I draw the loader. So if I draw the gunner before the main gun is loaded, he can't fire the gun. But he can still fire his machine gun. Okay? So you can only do each action in the order that the crewman is drawn. So it gives a little bit of, a little more unpredictability and challenge each combat round. So you don't really know what to expect. You got to hope that you draw them in the order that's best for you, but that's not going to happen all the time. Okay, so let me go down to here. We have put this back. Okay, we have this is the damage box. This is the tank damage. The damage modeling is fairly it's fairly detailed, and compared to Patton's Best. And in other ways, the game is less complex. But this part of it is probably a little more complex than Patton's Best. And here we have like damage boxes. What you're going to do is you're going to use a whiteboard dry erase marker like this. Okay. And for example, my tank takes one hit to, let's see, the left track. So I'm going to mark off the one box. Now, if it takes 2 hits on the left track, the tank is disabled, and it can no longer move for the remainder of the combat, remainder of the battle. Okay, so then the crew could choose to bail out at the end of the combat round, or remain in the tank and hope for the best until all the other enemy German forces are either killed or retreat from the battlefield. So here we have the 50 caliber A machine gun. We have the 30 caliber Val machine gun. We have the 30 caliber coaxial machine gun. We have the engine, can take 2 hits. We have the main gun, can take 2 hits. This is the main gun. And with the periscope sight, that's what the gunner uses when they are basically trying to target enemy German units. And we have the radio 1 and 2. 2 radios. If they're both knocked out, the commander cannot call in an airstrike. And we have a smoke mortar. Now the smoke mortar is mounted on top, and that lets the the commander can shoot this. That's what I forgot. The commander can also shoot the smoke mortar if he's unbuttoned, and that allows the tank to be prevent help prevent it from being hit. It shoots the smoke around the tank. I didn't include smoke shells for the M4A3 because I read that they didn't have the proper, it wouldn't fit the barrel, the 75, or I think 76 millimeter barrel for the M4A3. So I only included the smoke mortar. And we have steering. If it takes 2 hits, the tank is disabled. And we have the telescope sight, or telescopic sight, and that's also a second sight for the main gunner. Now, if both the telescope sight and the periscope sights are knocked out, the main gunner can no longer target or fire his main gun, okay, or his coaxial machine gun. So neither can fire if they're both knocked out. And we have the track, left track, 2 hits, and the right track, 2 hits, and then the turret can take 2 hits. Now if the turret takes second hit, it can no longer rotate, and that means basically the gun cannot target and cannot be fired anymore, the main gun or the 30 caliber coaxial machine gun. So I think that's pretty much the yeah, that's it for this mat. And then we have the commander medals. The more victory points you earn, you can get medals for your commander, because you, as the player, you are the commander, and then the other crewmen don't get medals. Its focus is on you, the commander. So let's go over here. This is the combat mat, and these are range zones, as some of you may have played my Devil Boats game published by Compass Games. It also uses range zones like this, and each range zone represents a distance. And up here we have the time. We can have day or night for the battle, and then weather we can have good, poor, or bad. Good represents sunny to partly cloudy. Poor is light snow, and bad is heavy snow. And airstrikes, United States Air Force airstrikes can only be called in if the weather is good and it's daytime. Any other time they cannot call them in. So terrain, we have 3 types of terrain in this game. We have forest terrain, like the pine forest terrain in the Ardennes. And we have open terrain. It's like open fields, which they did fight in. And we also have town terrain. And the best cover is town terrain. And the forest is in the middle, and the least amount of coverage is, of course, the open terrain. And then AA force strength. This feature represents, since it's a single player usually it's going to be a single player. I'm guessing most people will play this as solitaire. AA force strength abstractly represents other American forces on the battlefield fighting with you. Okay, so for each AA force strength, like for example, mod means moderate, light would be light, heavy would be heavy, and it's going to be different each battle, but it gets heavier better in January, which is historically correct because the tide of battle turned against the Germans, especially starting in January. And so what it does is, if you draw the draw cup, for example, if it's light, you're going to have 1 AA forces draw a cup, and then they can make an attack, randomized attack against any German forces. So you're going to have 1 added to the battle for light AA force strength, and if it's moderate AA force strength, you're going to have 2 of these added, so that's 2 attacks per combat round, randomized. And if it's heavy, AA4 strength, you're going to have 3 of these draw cup counters added to the draw cup each combat round. And they can't be killed or anything. They are always present and attacking. Okay. So let me see what else. So the distances, any unit can go into any range zone. For example, my tank could be here. We could all be in the same range zone. So for each range zone, there's going to be less chance of hitting your target. Okay? So there's no modifier penalty if we're all in the same range zone. You're going to lose that -2. So for example, if I'm here and I attack 2 range zones away, one of the modifiers is going to be -2 per range zone. So that's going to be a -4 DRM because it's 2 extra range zones. But if I'm in the same range zone, there's no DRM penalty for distance. You're going to have a much greater chance of hitting your targets, but they'll have a better chance of hitting yours too. And another example is, let's see, we have for example, the Panzerschreck RPG, or let's see, where's my flamethrower? One of my flamethrower guys. Let's see, where are you? Okay, here's a squad. We'll put these here. This is just an example. Okay, here's my flamethrower, one of them. Now, a flamethrower can only attack if it's in the same range zone as one of the tanks, your tank, okay? He can't attack from one range zone into the next. It has to be in the same range zone. The same applies to the RPG, the Panzerschreck. Now, one difference, for example, we have a squad, German Army squad, and we have a German Army APC, Armored Personnel Carrier. Now, depending on their distance, they use different attack types. If they're in a different range zone than the tank, they're going to attack with gunfire, but only if one of the crewmen is unbuttoned, because a gunfire cannot penetrate the tank if they're all buttoned and all the hatches are closed. Okay, so they won't attack. But if one of the crewmen has, like, the assistant driver has his head popped out, the hatch is open, they're going to attack with gunfire if the tank is targeted. Now, the same applies to the APC, okay? But if they're in the same range zone, they will always attack with grenades. Okay, the APC is considered to have soldiers riding, in the APC. So they're going to start tossing grenades out the top because it's probably an open topped APC carrier, armored personnel carrier. And then of course the squads will also use grenades against the tank. Now it's not going to have a very good chance of penetrating the tank's armor, but they can still attack. So that's the only way they can attack tanks if everyone's buttoned up, is if they're in the same range zone, they attack with grenades. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and go over to this. This is the German Army status mat. And here we have 5 different German Army unit types, numbers. And here we have the unit types: armored car, armored personnel carrier, flamethrower, heavy anti-tank gun, heavy tank, light anti-tank gun, medium anti-tank gun, mortar, medium tank, rocket-propelled grenade, RPG, sniper, and squad. There are 12 different types of enemy units. and they are randomized during setup, depending on, randomized meaning the type, the skill. Each unit has its own skill. Enemy unit has its own skill points. So, for example, I already set up this this mat to demonstrate a few combat rounds, but as battle number 1. So, for example, my armored car here, German armored car, number 1, 1, 1, and I rolled 3 skill points. Now let me go down here. I didn't explain these. We have skill points, unit wounds, unit meaning soft targets, like the RPG or the I forgot to mention the anti-tank guns are also considered soft targets. So, so the anti-tank gun or the squads or a sniper, that would represent their wounds. So they can take up to 3 wounds before they're incapacitated, meaning they cannot move or attack anymore. And then the 4th wound means they're KIA, killed in action. Now here we have armored car damage. It can sustain 2 damage before it's disabled on the 3rd hit, and then the 4th hit it's KIA. It burns, or whatever, it's destroyed, explodes. Now here we have the APC, Armored Personnel Carrier damage. It could sustain 3 hits, and then the 4th it's damaged, disabled, and the 5th hit it's KIA. And the medium tank, it can sustain 4 hits, and then disabled on the 5th and 6th hit, and then the 7th hit it's KIA. And then the heavy tank, it can sustain 5 hits, and then it can sustain 3 hits as disabled, and then on the 9th hit it's KIA. So the heavy tanks are very hard to kill. Their armor is much more difficult to penetrate with the Sherman tank. So you're going to have a very difficult time taking out, the heavy, like it represents a Tiger tank. So heavy Tiger tank. So and okay, that covers that. So there are there are 5 different units maximum. Now there are not always 5. The minimum that you can have is actually 1 German army unit present. So you might luck out and only get 1, and it's going to be easy to beat that battle. Okay. Now remember, this is just representing just a small part of a much larger battle. But I abstracted it to focus on the player only. So let's see, we have, and then here, this is just a little extra. This is the universal DRM calculator, die roll modifier. I'm going to include this when this game is released on Wargame Vault as print and play soon. And you can calculate the DRMs on the tables back and forth. So it just helps a little bit to track it quickly and to calculate. Let's see, what else have we got? We've got, let's see, okay, let me go ahead and explain this. Okay, this is the crewman, M4 crewman status sheet. And here we're going to mark down, we're going to keep track of our crewman status. And we have the abbreviations here. AD is assistant driver, C is commander, D is driver, G is gunner, L is loader. And we check mark each box with our tank number 1 or 2, and then the crewman position. And then we have his name. I have a name generator in the tables, and then the start and date. And then here we have the crewman's skills. Each crewman can have a variety of skills depending on his position in the tank. We have bailout. Now bailout is used when the bailout skill is used when the tank catches fire and everyone tries to jump out. That will help survival rate. And we have evasion. Evasion is a skill which decreases the chances of the crewmen being captured if they bail out from the tank. And there are some other variables that will affect being captured or not, like distance from range zone 1, weather, day, night, and a variety of other modifiers. Gunnery. Gunnery can be used by the assistant driver, the commander, or the gunner. It helps increase the chances of hitting their targets. Gunsmith can be used by the commander, the loader, and the assistant driver. In case the gun jams, the main gun or the MGs jam, they can. It gives a better chance to unjam the weapon. Spotting. Spotting can be used by the assistant driver, or commander. But they can't be doing any other action. For example, if the driver's driving, he can't spot and drive at the same time. The only reason the driver has a spotting skill is if, let's say, the driver was wounded, and let's say the assistant driver was wounded, and I don't want to have him spotting anymore because he might get killed. So if the hatch is open, easier chance to get killed. So I'm going to go ahead and have the driver spot, and then have this with the hatch open like that. And I'm going to have the assistant driver drive with the hatch closed, so it's safer for him. So in that situation, the driver can spot, but the driver cannot spot and drive the tank at the same time. Okay, the commander can also help spot for the main gunner. So at any one time, you're going to be able to have 2 spotters maximum, because someone has to drive the tank. Okay, so the spotting helps the main gunner to hit his target with the main gun only. Let's see. Okay, we have resistance. Now, resistance, I wouldn't call it a skill, but it's a bonus that you get if the tank is hit, and you're going to have to roll for shell shock. They're going to be shocked by the shell hitting the tank, so you have to roll for shell shock. It's kind of the same. The enemy units also roll for shell shock if they get hit, especially talking about the armored ones, and also the soft targets. But it's shown as suppressed, so it's the same effect. But I use suppress for the enemy units, and I only used shell shock for the tank crewmen. But it's the same effect. If they're shell shocked, they cannot perform any actions at combat round. If they've already performed their action, then there's no effect. So the resistance skill helps reduce the chances of shell shock if the tank is hit by a shell from an armored car, or RPG, or grenade, or one of the tanks. So here we have restock. A restock is used by the loader. It allows him to restock 8 shells per combat round if he has 5 restock skill points. But the problem is if it's -1 shell per wound per combat round. So if he has, let's say, 5 restock skill points, but he has 2 wounds, he can only restock 6 shells per combat round. So being wounded slows down the ability to restock the shells. So I think that's all the skills. And yeah, and we have the fate here, discharge K or captured or whatever. You can just make a note. So I think we're about 35 minutes in. Let's see, and let me go ahead and show you real quick. This is the tables book. As with all my games, it's a tables-based game engine. And you're going to follow the tables through, usually through alphabetical and numerical order, but you will be jumping around during combat, depending on whose turn it is to attack. So there's a little bit of page flipping. Now there seems like there's a lot of tables, but these are only used to set up the battle down to here. And then I forgot to mention there are 3 types of battles, or 4 types of battles. No, actually, let's see. 5 types. Okay, we have a meeting engagement where both sides meet. And we have defend, where the you have to defend range zone 1, and you're going to be dug in. Your tank's going to be dug in automatically at the beginning. And if you move, then you're no longer dug in for the remainder of the battle. But being dug in lessens the chance of being hit when you're attacked. We have defend. Okay, I did that. Okay, we have assault, where it's the opposite. You have to attack the dug-in enemy units, and they are going to be quite a bit more difficult to kill because they're dug in sandbags or whatever, so difficult to hit. We have assault. Okay, I did that. Okay, defend, assault, town attack. Town attack is the same as assault, but it always occurs in the town terrain. And then defense is the same as defend, but it's in the town defense. So you're going to have different types of combat depending on your die rolls. Okay, so you're basically just going to follow it in alphabetical and numerical order, but you will be jumping around some during combat. It's not that difficult. Most tables have notes where to go next. Everything's in pretty much logical order, so don't be intimidated by these tables. It's very easy to learn with very little rules memorization. So we have this is quite detailed damage modeling. I have like 3 different wound tables depending on the situation. I had armor penetration table, different attacks depending on the weapon, the German attack type. So it's very fairly detailed, but not overly complicated. And there's only 12 pages total, and so it's not very big. Not very thick tables book. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do a few combat rounds to just demonstrate how the game plays. Depending, each battle is going to be a little different, but there are 4. You can do a short campaign game. And the short campaign game is going to start on January 1st, 1945. And the long campaign game starts on December 16th, 1945. December 16th was the very first, battle of the Ardennes offensive. So I started the game at that point. And the game always ends on January 25th, right after January 25th. 1945. That was the historical date that the last of the fighting occurred. So you're going to have a little over a month worth of fighting, but you're going to roll like number of days until the next battle. We're going to roll 1d6. So you're going to have a maximum of 6 days between each battle. So you're going to average maybe, for a long campaign game, you're going to average maybe 10 or 12 battles total. So you're probably looking at about 5 or 6 hours playtime, average. And for a short campaign game, you're probably looking at 5 or 6 battles for a total of about 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So each battle is probably going to average about half hour, I'm guessing. So that's not too terribly long, but it should provide some entertainment. I'm hoping everybody enjoys it once it's released. So as I mentioned, everything's set up. I've already rolled all my skills. I mean, I started out, okay, one thing I forgot to mention is you can start out with a maximum of 150 bonus points. Now, bonus points can be used to purchase crewman skills or a replacement tank. If the tank gets knocked out or you abandon it, it's going to cost you, I believe, I don't remember, to be honest. I believe it's 25 bonus points. Let me see here. Where are we at? I don't remember this. I haven't lost a tank yet. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's 25. Yeah, 25 bonus points. So it's good to keep bonus points in reserve, because if you lose a tank and you don't have enough bonus points to replace it before the next battle, let's say you do survive, the game ends. So it's good to keep at least 25 in reserve, bonus points in reserve, if you have them. So like I said, you can start out with a maximum of 150 bonus points per player, and bonus points can also be used to purchase American Air Force airstrikes. That's also abstractly, it's abstracted in the game, meaning you're going to draw it from the draw cup like one of your crewmen, but you can only use one per battle, and you can purchase these for 15 bonus points each, but the weather has to be good and the time has to be day to use them. So you can't use them if it's poor or bad weather or if it's nighttime. So you can't just go crazy with these. But each AA airstrike, United States Air Force airstrike, does 4 attacks, randomized. So it's pretty powerful, but you can't use them very often. The weather does improve a little bit in January, as it did historically, so you're going to have a better chance to use them starting January. So anyway, I'll go ahead and let's see. I'll go ahead and do a demonstration. I'm not going to mulligan this. I'm going to just play it as it rolls, and if I die, I die, or whatever. But I just want to demonstrate a few combat rounds. And real quick, let me show you this also. These are my crewmen. I've already chosen their skills. I started out with, I believe 100? Yeah, 100 skill points. And I kept 50 in reserve. My bonus points. So I spent 50 bonus points on the skill points. One skill point each is, one bonus point is one skill point. That's what it costs. One skill point costs one bonus point. Let me put it that way. Okay. So bonus points can be earned by winning the battle, and by they can only be earned by killing enemy units. But you can't lose any. Like if you lose a tank or you lose a crewman, you do not you're not penalized. You don't lose bonus points, but you will lose victory points. And then last but not least, let me go ahead and show you this real quick. This is the campaign log sheet. You have the battle number, the date of the battle type, and you have battle info, time. I'm going to add terrain. I haven't done that. Weather, AA force strength, enemy kills up to a maximum of 5, victory points for the battle, and then total victory points. And then final scoring down here. So it's very, very easy. You're not going to use very much paper in this game. You're going to use maybe a maximum of 2 of these sheets per game if it's a long campaign. If it's a short campaign game, you'll only use 1. So at the very most, you'll probably use 3 sheets per campaign, which is not bad in my opinion. A lot of games use a whole bunch of paper, and I don't like that. I like to reuse things. Like here, these mats, I put these in the hard clear plastic holders, and I use dry erase markers on them, also for damage too. So very practical. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're about 45 minutes into the video, and I want to maybe keep it close to an hour. So required dice in this game are 2 D10s, 1 D20, 1 D12, and 1 D6. Oh, that's a lot. Look at that. But it's necessary. So hopefully you guys will have the dice available. Nothing crazy like a D4. I included a D4 with devil boats, and this drove a lot of people crazy. But actually I like it. It's a pretty cool die. Looks like a little pyramid. So, but this game does not require a D4. So let's go ahead and get started. The date of our first battle, I'm starting a new long campaign game, and the date of our first battle is December 20th, 1944. And our time is day, weather is poor, light snow. The terrain is open terrain, and AA force strength is moderate. We have moderate American Army force strength on the battlefield, which is not bad. So we added 2 of these AA forces draw cups counters into the draw cup. I believe. Let me make sure I have both of them in here. Maybe I don't. Let's see. Yes, I do. Okay. Now, the game starts out with, of course, the weapons fully loaded with ammo. I chose to put an armor piercing in the breech. You can just start out with nothing loaded if you want, and choose 1 to load in. But I chose this. I took a chance. Now you can unload it and reload it, a different one if you want, but it's probably better just to shoot it off. But you can't. I limited the types of attacks per shell type. Like, you could probably use a high explosive against a medium tank, but I didn't allow that in this game. So you can only use armor piercing shells against armor targets, and you can only use high explosive against soft targets. Like I said, you could probably use an armor piercing shell against a soft target, but I didn't want to complicate the game that much, so I tried to keep it a little bit simpler. So armor piercing can only be used against hard targets, armor targets, and high explosives can only be used against soft targets. So we're all set up. We'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. We have all our unit counters and crewmen, enemy unit counters and crewmen counters in the draw cup. And I don't have any American Air Force, USAF airstrikes. Even if I did, like, you can purchase one in advance, And you can purchase one in advance and just keep it off to the side. And when you come upon a battle that's daytime and clear weather, good weather, you can use it. But you don't have to use it. You can keep it in reserve until you're ready to use it. But don't forget, you can only use one airstrike per battle. You can't like call in 3 or 4. It would be overpowering if I allowed that. So you can only do 1 per battle if the conditions are right. Okay, let's go ahead and draw and see what happens. Now we have open terrain, so it's like an open field. So, okay. Also, before the first combat round or at the end of each combat round, you're going to choose whether, who's driving and whether the hatch is open or closed. I'm gonna go ahead and open my hatches. I'm gonna take a chance for spotting for the main gun. We're gonna try to take out the main, the medium tank. That's our biggest threat. All units can move during combat if they're not dug in. The enemy units. They can only move 1 range zone per combat round. It doesn't matter whether they're a wheeled vehicle or an RPG or whatever. I limited it to 1 movement per combat round. Even the ATGs can move, abstracting they're being towed by another vehicle or whatever. So any unit, enemy unit can move if you do roll for the move. So we're going to go ahead and leave our hatches open for the assistant driver and commander. We're going to have them spotting. That's going to be their action. My commander cannot fire his gun or do anything else, and the assistant driver cannot fire the bow machine gun. So we're going to only focus on spotting to help the main gun. We're going to try to take out this medium tank, this Panzer tank. So let's see what happens. Let's hope we don't get hit. Okay, I drew GA2, German Army Unit number 2. We're going to put it here. And the 2 is the medium anti-tank gun. Let's see what he does. We're going to go ahead and go to table. Don't worry about, oh, this looks complicated. Once you play it a few times, you'll know which tables are where. You don't even have to read the notes. You'll know where to go next. It's very easy. Like I said, there's very little to memorize in this game. Almost all the rules are integrated into the tables as notes. So they're always right in front of you, and you don't need to memorize things so much. So it's very easy. Like if you put the game away for a year, and then you pick it up again, you're going to be able to start playing it fairly quickly because you don't have to memorize everything. Okay, so we're at number 2. Yeah, we'll go ahead and we're going to go to table. Okay, depending on the battle type, we have the German Army action. Now, if it's a town attack or an assault battle, they don't move. They're always dug in. We're not going to use this table for the entire this battle. We're going to just ignore this. We're going to go up here. This is the type of battle, medium engagement. Okay. And we're going to roll to see what he does. Depending on the situation, he'll act a certain way. Okay, we rolled a 10. We have the modifiers. +1 per German Army unit. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got a 14. And we have, the weather is not bad, and it's not night. So we have +2 SPs, skill points. Whoa. So +8, so it's over a 20, 21. Okay, so 20 plus is going to advance and attack. He's going to move towards range zone 1 And we're going to roll 1d10 to see who he attacks. Whether he attacks American Army forces, which means we're not targeted, he makes no attack against our tank, or he might attack our tank. It depends. There are other forces on the battlefield that we can't see. So it depends on who he attacks. Okay. So he's going to advance 1. He's now in the middle, immediate number 2 range zone. And we're going to go ahead and roll a 1d10 to see who he attacks. Okay, we rolled an 8. So he is attacking American Army forces. He's targeting them. So our tank is not attacked. He's fighting somebody else. He's shooting at somebody else. So his turn is finished for this combat round. Okay, next. Okay, I drew M41, means tank number 1. L, loader. Okay. Unfortunately, I drew the loader before I did the main gun. So the main gun is already loaded. Everything's loaded. So my loader can't do anything. It's kind of a wasted turn for him. Okay, AD, assistant driver. This is our assistant driver here. He's spotting. So to be honest, we don't even have to draw. If you're going to spot, they're spotting the entire time. So I don't really even have to draw the assistant driver counter from the cup or the commander, but I'm doing it anyway. Anyways, because I just want to leave them in the draw cup pool. But they're always spotting. So even if I draw the assistant driver counter after I draw the main gunner, he's still spotting, so it doesn't matter. He still gets the bonus modifiers. Okay? Okay. C, commander. I'm spotting. The hatch is open, so no action there. D, driver. Okay, now my tank, I can choose whether the tank's always moving around abstractly, but you can also move into the next, unless it's dug in, then it's not considered driving around, but you still have the driver at the controls, like maybe turning the tank or whatever. But we have the driver, so I can choose to go into this next range zone. We haven't fired our main gun yet, so it would give us a very good chance to attack, to hit this, but it's very risky because it's not his turn yet. And the difference between the player's tank and the other units is the other units can move and attack at the same time. They move and attack the tank or the AA forces. The player's tank cannot do that. You can only do the actions in the order that you draw the crewman counters. So you have to be very careful. So if I move here, this tank will probably move into zone 2, range zone 2, and attack us at close range, same zone. So that's very risky, but what the hell, this is just a demonstration video. So we're going to go ahead and move. And remember, our main gun is not fired yet. So let's hope that we hit him. We're gonna target him when it's our turn to fire our gun. Okay, good. G is gunner. Now we're gonna target. I'm gonna use these little reminder counters. Okay, we're gonna go to table. Let's see. We are attacking with our main gun, so we're going to go to table C8, main gun. Our AA forces or USAF attack, but this is the main gun attack. And we're going to skip this. We don't worry about that. We're going to roll 1 time per main gun AP or HE attack. So we are using our armor. Oh, we can't do that actually. We have armor piercing. I forgot. Okay. We'll go ahead and use our machine gun. Yeah, on the he's a soft target. This anti-tank gun. So we'll go ahead and use our MG. I was thinking we had an HE, high explosive shell loaded, which would give a little bit better chance of wounds, more wounds. But we get to fire twice with each MG ammo unit. So we're going to go ahead and fire our 30 caliber Quaxel machine gun, the main gunner. Or gunner, I should say. We'll go ahead and put this over here. Okay, he fires. We're going to roll 2d10 on table C8. Okay, we rolled a 3 and a 5. Now here we're going to have to calculate the tables. You can go through these very quickly. You'll learn these tables. You'll learn the DRMs very quickly. The die roll modifiers. Let's see. Okay, we have... What's his skill level? He's a 2. Oh, he's a 4. He's got 4 skill points. So that's not good. So, but we have 5 for our main gunner. So we get a +1 modifier. But we also get a +1 per spotting. So we get a +3. He's the assistant gunner spotting, and my commander is also spotting. So we get a +3. And then it is open terrain, we get a +5. And then it is day, we get a +7. Okay, what did I roll? I don't remember what I rolled. Let me go ahead and do this one more time. Okay, those are 2 hits with our machine gun. We're going to go ahead and go to table, let's see, yeah, unit wounds. We're going to roll 1d20 2 times to see how many wounds the medium anti-tank gun sustained, the crew. I'll roll that twice. Where's my other d20 at? There it is. Okay, we'll just roll them together. Save a little bit of time. Okay, I rolled an 18 and a 2, so 2 is no wound. And 5 wounds is an 18 to 20 plus. So we knocked him out. He's toast. Let's see. 2, 5 wounds. Yeah, he's gone. KIA. Okay. We got our first kill. I didn't know what hit him. Okay, I'm going to mark this kill down on my campaign log sheet. Now, if you wound or damage an enemy unit, and then the American Army Forces or the airstrike kills that unit, you don't get credit for the kill. But if the AA forces wound enemy German unit, or an airstrike wounds or disables a unit, and you kill it, you do get the credit for the kill. So you don't automatically get a credit for every kill made by the abstracted American forces. So, okay, we got him. So we're going to go ahead and remove him from the map. And he's gone. That was a good shot. Okay. Okay, GA1. Uh-oh. Okay, that's the armored car. We're going to go ahead and go to... Let's see. We're going to go back up to C11. This is our German Army action table for the type of battle. And we're going to go ahead and roll. How many skill points does he have? 3 skill points. That's average. We're going to see what he does. Okay, we rolled a 7. Oh, that's not so good. Okay. Plus, okay, a 10. And then 16. Yeah, he's advancing. No problem. Okay, he's coming into our range zone. And he's going to attack, but we don't know who he's going to attack. So we got to roll a 1d10. Okay, we rolled a 2. We checked below. And, okay, he's targeting our M4, our tank. So we go to table C13 or C14. Depending on the attack type. So it's going to be AC is armored car. So we're going to go to C13. And the armored car always attacks with his main gun. He doesn't use machine guns. He has machine guns. So we're going to put our attack counter and defend counter so we know who's attacking and who's being targeted. And he's going to fire 1 time. Okay, we roll a 9. And then we get a -2, but the difference in the skill points. So and then a +2 for open terrain. And then a +2 for daytime. Yeah, he hit us. So we'll see if his shell penetrates our armor. The problem is our hatch is open. We're unbuttoned, my assistant driver and commander, so there's a good chance they will receive more wounds if they're hit. So let's see. We're going to go ahead and go to C15 for armor penetration. And we're going to roll a 1d10. And we get a -3 DRM because it's an armored car attacker. He has a very small cannon on his armored car, so there's a good chance it won't penetrate. I think I rolled a 5. And -3 is a 2. Okay, so no penetration and no damage. Now, if we rolled a 6 to a 9 modified, there would be no penetration, but there would be exterior damage to the tank. The outside of the tank might sustain damage. And if we rolled a 10 plus modified or unmodified, the armor would be penetrated. So we would have exterior and interior damage. So there's separate tables for exterior and interior damage. So you can sustain both if it penetrates. Okay, it just bounced off our tank, no problem. Good. Now, one thing you'll notice too is that there's no armor facing rules in this game. I wanted to keep things abstract. I don't like the idea of having the enemy German units not have facing rules, but we do. Our tank does have facing rules. I want to keep things the same, so I decided to have no armor facing rules. So that part of the game is abstract to also kind of help speed up gameplay. So, okay, let's go ahead and go to... okay, we're over an hour into this, 10 minutes after, so I want to finish this up. Well, maybe we'll do one more combat round. Okay, German Army 4 is the medium tank. Uh-oh, this is the guy I'm afraid of. He might take us out with his heavy gun. Okay, we rolled a 16. I already know he's going to advance. I don't even need to calculate. Okay, here he comes. Let's hope he doesn't attack us. We're going to go roll 1d10 to see who he attacks. Okay, we rolled a 3. He's attacking our tank. Figures. Okay, what's his skill level? Skill level 2. 2 skill points. Not too bad. Maybe he'll miss. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go to table... let's flip the page. Go ahead and go to table C13 for a tank attack. Okay, we rolled an 8. I believe that's a hit. Let's see. Same range zone. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's a hit. He hit us with his main gun. That's not good. So let's go ahead and go to table C15 for armor penetration check. See if it penetrated our armor. Now there's a good chance his main gun penetrated our armor. Because it's a, you know, the German tanks outgunned most of the American tanks, even at the end of December 44, beginning of January 45. So let's go ahead and see if it penetrated. Roll a 1d10. Okay, rolled an 8. Yeah, that's penetrated. We got a plus 2. It's a medium tank attacker, so it's a 10. So our exterior and interior received damage. So he just blasted the hell out of our tank. We're going to go ahead and first we're going to go to exterior damage on C16. We're going to roll 2d10, 1 to 100, 1 time, no, actually 2 times per tank hit. We rolled a 71. Okay, our periscope got knocked out. You can only sustain 1 hit. That'll be a negative DRM, a -1 on our attack table if, you know. And we're going to roll 1 more time. Okay, we rolled a 42. Bow MG was knocked out. So our assistant driver's MG just got knocked out. We'll check that off. Can't use that anymore. And now we're going to roll for interior damage. This is the scary part because we might have a fire. We're going to roll 2 times for interior damage. Okay, roll a 14. Superficial. Good. Good, good. Okay, no effect. And we rolled a 68. Oh, a crewman was hit. Okay, crewman was wounded. We got to go ahead and go to table yeah, depending on the crewman. Okay. We got to go ahead and roll for to see who the crewman was. Roll 1d10. Okay, the commander. I was hit. Brilliant. Okay. We go to C18 because I am unbuttoned. If you're unbuttoned, the hatch is open. You're going to have a greater chance of being killed because you have less protection. Even though it penetrated, you know, half your body's still sitting in. So maybe it, you know, ricocheted and. But anyway, I did that rule. I had to separate the wound tables whether you're buttoned or not buttoned. So we got to go ahead and roll a 1d20 to see our wounds. We rolled a 2, but we have some DRMs here. It's a medium tank attack, so it's an 8. So we received 2 wounds. So we're going to take our blue wound counter. We're going to put it here. Okay, we're not incapacitated yet. Incapacitated is 4 wounds, and then 5 wounds is KIA. So we're still okay so far. We survived that, so that's good. Okay, AA forces. We're going to go back to table C8. And we're going to roll here to see who the AA forces targets. We're going to roll a 1d10. Okay, we rolled a 10. That means unit number 5. Now, if the unit is not present, the next lowest unit number is targeted, the enemy unit. So we only have 4, now 3. So 10, so the next lowest is 4. So AA Forces is attacking the medium tank, German tank. Okay, we're going to go ahead and roll 1d10 to see if they hit him. We rolled a 2, that's a miss. I can already tell you right now that's a miss. Don't need to calculate. Okay, GA3. Okay, that's our mortar. Let's see what he does. We go to table C11, roll a 1d20, rolled an 18. Okay, he's going to advance, I can tell you right now. Put him over here. Doesn't matter. You can put him anywhere in the zone. I made him large enough where you can put all the counters in the same zone. So let's see who he targets. Okay, he targets our tank. Now the mortar can attack the tank even if we're all buttoned up, but it's going to have a difficult time penetrating the armor. But it could penetrate, like if it lands right at the underneath the, at the very front bottom part or the rear bottom part. And so that's abstracted too. But it's not a very good chance of penetrating. Or if it landed right on top of the tank, I suppose there's a chance that it could penetrate. I'm not sure. But there's always a small chance it will penetrate. So we'll go ahead and roll. Okay, rolled a 7, and his skill level is 3. And then we're 2. Okay, let's see. 3, 7. So we'll go ahead and calculate this real quick on table C13. Roll a 7. And oh yeah, he hit us, actually, yeah. Okay, his mortar maybe landed right on top of our tank. Let's hope he doesn't, it didn't hit my commander or my assistant driver because they're unbuttoned. So let's go ahead and roll for armor penetration on C15, which probably not very likely. Rolled a 7, but we get a -4 DRM from mortar attack. So no penetration and no damage. And nobody was hit. Now if I would have rolled a 6 to a 9, so it was kind of like, it would be kind of like a near miss. But if I rolled a 6 to a 9, that would have actually landed on the tank, and then I would have to check for exterior damage only, which maybe one of my unbuttoned crewmen would have been hit, and there was a good chance they'd be killed. So, okay, let's go ahead and finish this combat round. Okay, we have roll AA Forces, second one. Okay, let's see who they're going to target. We're going to roll 1d10. Rolled a 9. Okay, it's the same situation. The next lowest number is a 4. So they're attacking the medium tank again. We're going to roll a 1d10. Rolled a 3. Total miss. Now the AA Forces doesn't have a skill level, but they do get a +2 modifier just to average things out. I wanted to keep it simple. So I'm going to end the video here. We're already at 1 hour and 20 minutes in, and it's running a little bit longer than I was hoping. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm still currently playtesting and polishing the game, and I'm hoping to have it released on Wargame Vault in a week or two as print and play. And it's got a very small footprint. You can put. I'm gonna have a second optional Sherman Tank number 2 mat for players who want to use 2 tanks as solitaire or for a second player co-op. And I'm also planning on later. I'm also planning on releasing 2 vehicle expansions. One will be the M5 Stuart light tank, and the other vehicle will be the M8 Greyhound armored car. And both of those vehicles also took part in the Ardennes offensive, the Battle of the Bulge. So those will also be included. Those will have a lower survival rate than the Sherman, so it'll be even more challenging. And then they could be mixed and matched, like with 2-player co-op. Like one player could play as a Sherman, and then the second player could play as the Greyhound or light tank, the M5 light tank. So, well, I think that's all for today, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And so watch. I'll announce it once the game is available on Wargame Vault. And as you can see, it's a very small table footprint. I believe there are about 100. I don't remember how many. I'm just guessing, but I think there are about 160 game counters total. But some of those are optional for 2-player. There's like an extra set of game counters for the second player. So if you're not planning on playing with 2 vehicles or as a co-op, there are a lot less counters to assemble. But it's a fun game. It's there are a lot of things that are abstract, but there are a lot of things that are detailed. So I try to find a good balance, and it will be difficult to survive. And you can retreat from battle, but if you lose the battle, retreating is losing the battle. You will lose victory points. So, but sometimes it's necessary to retreat because you'll be heavily outnumbered. Like if you draw, 2 or 3 heavy tanks or something, you're probably not going to survive. So in those situations, it might be better to, unless you're dug in, it's a defensive battle. It might be better to maybe fire off 1 or 2 shots and then just run for it if you can. So anyway, well, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And please watch for the game release on Wargame Vault. Thank you.